Should you move to Hawaii? What kind of silly question is that? Of course you should move to Hawaii, right? It's always sunny, blue skies, everybody's laid back here, nobody goes to work, everybody spends all day at the beach, right? Of course you should move here and enjoy that lifestyle. That's actually not what life is like living here in Hawaii. Couldn't be farther from the truth. In this video, we're going to talk about all those things and more, and if you should move to Hawaii. What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Living in Hawaii channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about living in Hawaii, everything that Hawaii has to offer, the good, the bad, the ugly, the up, down, left, and right. If you're not new here, welcome back to a new video. Make sure you all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and that notification bell so that you get notified every time that I upload a new video on this channel. And look, we get so many people reaching out, calling, texting, emailing, scheduling their own Zooms down in the description below. However you want to get a hold of us, we absolutely love it, and we got your back when moving to Hawaii. Should you move to Hawaii? Well, that depends on a lot of factors. Do you have the money saved up? Do you have a job lined up? What is your plan for moving out here? Do you think that people actually live in tiki huts out here by the beach and just spend all day at the beach and don't go to work? Do you think it's just some amazing lifestyle? Like, do you actually have a plan in place? We're gonna dive into all of that and more, starting with like I just said, do you have a job lined up? Okay, a lot of people that we talk to, especially on our Zoom calls, typically speaking, have a job lined up, accepted a position, whether it be military, medical, whatever the case may be. They have something lined up, or they're working remote and they're allowed to make that transfer over here to Hawaii, live in the islands, work remote, or they have the position already lined up. Typically speaking, on our Zoom calls, most of those people do have something lined up. If you do not have something lined up and you're planning on moving out here on a whim, with no job, right, no source of income, I'm going to tell you a few obstacles that you're going to encounter. Okay, number one would be finding a place to live. So if you do not have necessarily a verifiable source of income, right, that shows that you can pay rent or mortgage if you're planning on buying, then you're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time finding a place to live. And then if you don't meet the credit requirements, some property managers and landlords are definitely getting more strict on their conditions and requirements for letting somebody live in their property, especially with what happened in 2020. Some continued into 2021. Things have gotten a little bit more strict, and you need to take that into consideration if you're moving out here without a job and a verifiable source of income. Okay, so making sure that you're moving out here for the right reasons and not just because you are an expat or whatever the case may be and you're gonna plan on living on the beach. I'm just highly recommending that you have something lined up, some sort of source of income already in place. Coming out here to be a server or work in the hospitality industry, that is what our economy thrives on, but you may encounter a little bit more difficult time finding one of those positions. Local restaurants have struggled their way through 2020, 2021, and even the more corporate franchises and things like that have minimal staff or a smaller staff because they're not allowed to be at full capacity from what we're still experiencing. So these are things that you've got to consider. You've got to do your due diligence and make your do your research into, is the Cheesecake Factory down the road, because maybe you're trying to transfer Cheesecake Factory positions, right? Are they even hiring? Do they even have room for me? Should I call the GM over there and see if that's something, if that's the industry that you're going to, right? Same thing with the hotels, right? Maybe you're transferring from hotel industry. So do your due diligence, do your research, make your phone calls, make sure that you have a legit plan in place. Next thing we need to consider in should you move to Hawaii, that question, right, is family. Do you have family here on island, right? Or do you have family close by? Do you have family that is actually going to be dedicated to coming out to see you? My point that I'm getting to, or going to drive home here, is island fever. Okay, so we are a chain of 8 main islands, but many more islands, but here on Oahu, in Maui, Big Island, whatever the case may be, you may get a case of island fever, and that is a real thing. So my family, me and my wife, we leave at least 2 times a year because this state is not like any other. Well, maybe Alaska, but you can't just get in the car and then travel across the states, right? And you can't just take a 10-hour drive across several different states, go see, several different national, landmarks and sites, and just drive around and go see other things, right? This is not the state for that. You can drive around the island, see a lot of beautiful scenery, but how many times in a row can you do that without, all right, I need to get off of this rock, I need to go experience something, I need to go to Vegas, I need to go to Texas, I need to go to Florida, wherever the case may be. You need to go see your family. Because what happens is a lot of times people will move out here and they won't see their family for a while. If you think about it, a lot of people save a lot of money just to come out here for one trip in their lifetime. All right, and if you're making that move out here and that's the case, more often than not, that family is not actually going to come see you. And then when we talked about earlier with having finances in order and having a place, where's that family going to stay? Are they going to stay in the hotel? These types of things. So you really need to have a solid plan, but a solid mindset of, okay, I'm going to move out here. I understand that it's going to be pretty expensive for me to come back to the mainland if I so choose, or when I choose. Am I going to get homesick? I got to have a stronger mindset when I move out here, because if you're moving out here alone or as a married couple, right, or a married couple with kids, you got to understand you're going to be so much farther away from everybody. It's not going to have that practicality or that access that you're typically used to. We already talked about having your finances in order, at least to making sure that you have a job lined up. That's going to lead us into the cost of living. Should you move out here, are you going to be okay with the higher cost of living? This is definitely one of the biggest adjustments that people have to make when they make their trips to the grocery store, the gas stations, and really rent or buying. And you're seeing the prices of some of these places that you can either rent or buy and the size of them. You're like, wait a minute, I'm giving up so much square footage to live in this home. So cost of living is a huge adjustment, right? Milk, $5, $6 or more depending, right, on the store. And eggs can be expensive. It's just crazy, right? So cost of living, when you talk about electric, right, that's one of the biggest questions we always get on our calls is, well, what's your electric bills like? Because we hear it's crazy expensive out there. We actually do have the highest gigawatts per hour in the nation. I have to go check out my cost of living video on this channel for that one. But we do have some of the most expensive electric in the nation. And I had a question in the comments. Somebody said, well, don't you guys have solar power out there? Yes, you can purchase solar panels if you qualify, right? And it is your home that you own. So we don't just get solar panels. Not everybody is given a solar panel or two and a battery to have solar power in their homes. So electric can be really high, and those solar panels are pretty expensive too. Typically speaking, a panel around $1,000, a battery around 10 grand. Typically speaking, if you are planning on purchasing those solar panels that you would then have to qualify for. So that's one of the things that you've got to consider. Electric cars is a big thing out here, but when you talk about purchasing a Tesla or any of these other EV cars, you got to make sure that you have those capabilities in your home to charge your car. And then when you go out, wherever that may be, there's plenty of them here on the island, but the charging ports where you can plug in your car. Most grocery stores out here do have a few specific spots for those. So should you move to Hawaii, consider the cost of living when you do. Think about it. In the beginning, I kind of joked about it, but the weather, right? I talked about the blue skies being blue all the time and this and that, and everybody spending all day at the beach. So first thing I'll jump on is the weather. The weather is beautiful out here. We're actually getting towards the my favorite time of the year, when the weather is starting to get a lot cooler during the day and especially at night in the fall going into the winter. This is my favorite time out here. If you ask me that in any other state, I guess north of Texas and that bottom belt, then I would say no, because I do not do well in the cold. For you may be completely opposite, and you're like, I actually love being cold. I love the fall cold, and I love the snow or however cold it may get where you are in those freezing temperatures. So should you move out to Hawaii if you want to be hot all the time, right? Something you got to consider. Or are you going to want to go back home just for the fall weather? A lot of people may not like the tropical hot sun all the time and being as low as we are to the equator and those types of things. So that is it is true, and it is something that people do think about. Like it's pretty hot over there. It's beautiful, but it's too hot for me all the time, right? And then we think about these other states like Vegas where it's 120, Arizona it's 120, right? But when you go down to Florida, Florida actually has very similar weather, and I would say Southern California has pretty similar weather to what Hawaii offers. But as far as the snow, it does snow here, believe it or not. It snows up in the mountains on the Big Island and Maui. You can see the snow. You can Google that, up in the mountains up there. And then the other thing I wanted to jump into, the other topic, was the working class lifestyle. So a lot of people out here bust their butts daily. A lot of people are out here working their tails off to make a living, especially here with the cost of living, which we just talked about too. So a lot of people are working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay rent or just to pay their mortgage. Families of anywhere from like 2 to 6. So what's common out here is multi-family homes, multi-generational homes, or you will come and encounter something where maybe your neighbor or something like that you're gonna see a lot of people living in one house, and that's because it's so expensive. So, great grandma, mom, dad, and kids, or whatever the situation might be with the family, are all going to be living under one house together, and everybody just contributes in some way, shape, or form to the bills. So it helps everybody from top to bottom in that manner, and you're going to see a lot of different house styles. You're like, why is that designed like that? Well, because a lot of times they will partition off certain areas so people do get their privacy and a feel of their own certain space, but it still is one big house. And I've seen some of these on the market recently too, like over in Kailua or down in town, some of these massive homes, but that's the way they kind of look, is partitioned off like that for the bigger families. So should you move to Hawaii if you have a bigger family? Well, these are the things you got to consider. Do you have the job lined up, right? Do you have a plan in place? Are you going to be able to find a home that accommodates your family, right? And your lifestyle and your goals and priorities. So something to consider. Should you move to Hawaii if you have kids? For me, 100% yes. I moved here as a kid, right? My parents moved here. Well, my parents moved here and I was a kid, so I didn't have a choice in the matter, but I'm forever grateful for it. I love the environment that I grew up in. I love the diversity, right? I loved the diversity and the amount of cultures that I got the chance to experience growing up here. And now my kids get to do the same thing. So should you move here with kids? For me, 100% yes, do it. But no, this is seriously something you've got to consider with the schools, right? And the communities and things like that. So the schools, you always got to do your due diligence, greatschools.org or niche.com, which I show you data on these all the time. But understand that Hawaii's public education system does not rank at the top as far as the United States public rankings go. So do your due diligence on that. But I am comfortable with where my kids go to school and the education that they are getting. I'm actively involved parent. I'm always helping with homework, trying to figure out what they're learning in class and these types of things. Other than that, though, you got the sports in the communities, which I love. I love seeing all the people outdoors playing sports. My son had played baseball and soccer, my oldest. When my youngest gets up to those ages, which I believe is 4, he's going to start playing too. And he's a little wild guy, but where he's going to start playing too. And there's always some sports going on in the community. They got I-9 sports out here, and then they got the local teams and stuff that you can go sign up for, whether it be flag football, tackle football, baseball, basketball. There's tons of gyms and tons of outdoor courts here. So I love seeing the sports and the activities going on in the communities with all the young kids. Playgrounds, there's tons of playgrounds and tons of parks that kids can go to, get outside, get running around and have fun. Again, a very diverse community where you get to experience a lot of different cultures. And like I said, I'm forever grateful for it. And I think a lot of kids should experience something like that. And our original question, should you move to Hawaii? Well, this depends on so many different variables and things going on in your life, what's happening. So it's a really hard question to answer, and I can't tell you the answer right here on this video, but I will say the job is super important. Make sure you, if you have a family, you have considered not just the selfish aspect of it, but how it's gonna make the impact on them. And then the plan. Having a plan is the biggest thing, okay? Making sure that you have your ducks in a row, right? And you have a plan, a solid plan for budgeting, right? Saving money before the move, budgeting your vehicle, your household goods if you're bringing them, where you're gonna live, or starting to get a better idea of where you want to live. Based on the information that you may have found online or on this channel when we got vlog tours, community vlog tours, tons of other videos like this giving you information on each specific community to give you a better idea of where it is that you may want to live outside of some of these cities or suburbs and something like that. But the plan. All right, that's the biggest thing. Even if you're in the military and you're PCSing out here, do not procrastinate on that either, all right? You wanna start planning way ahead of time. We have had calls with people a year and a half out, calls with people 6 months out, okay? Plan is the key. Do not do it necessarily on a whim. If you can help it, if you randomly got a job offer or a job position accepted and you've got to report or be there in 2 to 3 weeks, I get it. You can still reach out. I'm just saying for those that didn't or aren't in that situation, please make sure that you plan. And you guys, please make sure that you like this video so that anybody else searching for this information can find it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you get notified every time that I upload a new video. And like I said at the beginning, we get so many people reaching out, calling, texting, emailing, scheduling their own Zooms down in the description below, and we absolutely love it. You can do exactly the same thing. And as I mentioned on this channel, we got vlog tours, community vlog tours, Waikele, Makakilo, Hawaii Kai. I can go on and on and on about the areas. Tons of other videos for you to circulate through on this channel. One of the best channels out there to help you get that idea of where it is that you may want to plant your roots in that move. And I'm gonna have a lot of those videos popping up for you right now.